Okay, picture this scenario. You're rushing for a train, let's say in Mumbai. Your watch says 9:00 a.m. sharp. You're feeling good, right? Then you look up at the big station clock, and bam, it says 9:05. You're already 5 minutes late somehow.
Oh, that feeling, yeah.
And while you're still processing that, you get a text from a friend, maybe in Delhi, about your 10:00 a.m. meeting, but their clock is like 5 minutes ahead of yours.
It's chaos. Absolute chaos.
Total chaos. And then just to top it off, you quickly check your stock trading app, maybe you're based in Bengaluru, and the time zone it's showing feels completely alien. It just causes so much frustration. Right. Missed connections, maybe messed up trades.
It really does. It's that kind of temporal tug of war, as you put it, that genuinely messes up daily life. It creates so much inefficiency.
Yeah.
Because when every clock is just doing its own thing, you're not just losing a few minutes here and there. You could be losing money, opportunities, and yeah, maybe a bit of your sanity too.
Definitely the sanity part.
It just shows how fundamental, how absolutely basic, accurate time is for everything we do now.
So, okay, that daily chaos, that's a very real, very relatable problem. But what's the big plan? How is the government tackling this time mess?
Well, India's government is stepping in big time. They've announced a really bold, far-reaching solution. It's called the Legal Metrology Indian Standard Time Rules 2025.
Okay, Legal Metrology Rules 2025. Sounds official.
It is. And look, this isn't just about getting everyone's watches to match. This goes much deeper. It's tied into national security, boosting efficiency, self-reliance. They're even calling it time sovereignty.
Time sovereignty. What exactly does that mean in this context?
It essentially means a nation having independent control over its own time signals, making sure they're accurate, making sure they're available without relying on potentially vulnerable external sources. It's actually a pretty powerful statement.
That is a powerful idea. And just to clarify for everyone, Indian Standard Time, IST, that's UTC, plus 5.3, right?
That's the one.
And that slightly unusual half-hour offset, that's not just random, is it?
No, not at all. It's actually a very deliberate choice. It's a nod to India's sheer geographical size, east to west. It's designed to make sure the sun doesn't rise ridiculously early, like midnight in Arunachal Pradesh, or set way too early, like lunchtime in Gujarat. It's a practical compromise.
Makes sense for such a vast country.
Exactly. But the big challenge, the problem they're fixing, is that not everything in India actually follows IST properly. We've seen really critical stuff, financial markets, power grids, telecom networks, even, our smartwatches sometimes.
Right.
They might be syncing up with servers overseas or running on old internal systems that aren't quite right. And that mismatch, it just cascades into problems, missed deadlines, failed transactions, major operational risks.
And the official word on these new rules, the legal metrology ones, that came from Union Minister Prahlad Joshi. When was that?
Yeah, he announced them on June 19th, 2025. And he was very clear, this isn't just a technical fix. He specifically said it's about, and I'm quoting loosely here, ensuring fairness, accuracy, and national security. That really underlines the bigger strategic thinking behind it.
Okay, so fairness, accuracy, national security. Why is getting time exactly right such a massive deal for a whole country?
Well, if you zoom out, accurate time synchronization, it's the absolute backbone of modern life. Seriously, think about the financial markets. They need split-second, maybe even faster, precision for billions, trillions of dollars in trades every single day.
Billions, yeah, milliseconds matter there.
Hugely. Or the power grid, it relies on incredibly precise timing to balance supply and demand, to prevent blackouts, get that wrong, and things go dark very quickly.
Right.
Even things that seem simpler, like getting your Uber on time or making sure that train from Chennai actually leaves when the schedule says it will. It all hinges on everyone agreeing on the exact time.
So it's really not just a minor inconvenience when things are out of sync. We're talking real tangible costs, aren't we?
Absolutely. You could have a stock trader in Mumbai losing a fortune because their system was just a fraction of a second off. Or that train in Chennai leaving early because the station clock wasn't synced properly, stranding people. These aren't small hiccups.
No.
They're costly. They introduce risk. And frankly, for a country aiming to be a global tech leader, it can be embarrassing and inefficient.
And beyond the money, you mentioned national security. How does time play into that? That seems critical.
It really is. One of the biggest drivers here is reducing reliance on foreign time sources. Think about GPS, the global positioning system. Hugely useful, but it's controlled by the U.S. military.
Right.
So relying on that for critical national timing, Well, it leaves India vulnerable. What if, in a tense situation, another country decided to subtly mess with those time signals? Or just switch them off in a particular region?
That sounds like a real risk, not just theoretical.
It's not paranoia. It's a genuine strategic concern in today's world. If your entire digital infrastructure depends on timing signals you don't control, you have a problem.
Okay, so this whole initiative, these 2025 rules, it's basically India taking the reins, saying, we're going to control our own seconds now.
Pretty much. By mandating IST for everything and, crucially, sourcing that time directly from India's own satellite system, NavIC, developed by ISRO.
NavIC. India's own GPS, essentially.
Exactly. By doing that, the government is making a very clear statement. We are in charge of our own time, our own infrastructure. Thank you very much. It's a significant strategic power move, really.
Okay, so the why is clear. Sovereignty, security, efficiency. But the how? I mean, getting 1.4 billion people, countless devices, the entire economy onto the exact same microsecond. That sounds incredibly complex. It's not just telling people to set their watches, is it?
Oh, definitely not. This is a massive, high-tech, multi-layered operation. It's far more involved than just, a public service announcement.
And you mentioned it's been in the works for a while.
Years. This whole thing is under the umbrella of the Time Dissemination Project. It's a joint effort, Department of Consumer Affairs, the CSIR National Physical Laboratory, or NPL.
NPL, they're the timekeepers, right?
They're the gurus, yes. And ISRO, of course, with NavIC. Apparently, they've had over 60 meetings just on this since way back in 2018, figuring out all the details.
60 meetings? Wow.
Yeah, hammering it all out. The goal is to deliver IST with accuracy ranging from milliseconds down to microseconds everywhere for everything: banks, railways, telecom, you name it.
So how do they achieve that level of precision? What's the core technology?
Okay, at the heart of it all are atomic clocks. Now, these are not your standard clocks. Think of them as the superheroes of timekeeping.
Superheroes, okay.
They work by measuring the incredibly stable vibrations of atoms, usually cesium. They're so accurate they might lose only like a single second over millions of years.
Millions? That's hard to even comprehend.
It really is. And CSIR NPL, they're the ones who maintain India's primary atomic clocks, making sure IST is as perfect as humanly possible. But you can't just have one clock in Delhi, right?
No, you need to spread that time around.
Exactly. So they're setting up, or maybe upgrading, 5 regional reference standard laboratories, RRSLs. They're in Ahmedabad, Bengaluru, Bhubaneswar, Faridabad, and Guwahati. These labs will also have atomic clocks acting as crucial time hubs across the country.
Okay, so atomic clocks at NPL and these regional labs. Got it. What else? You mentioned NavIC.
Right, NavIC is key. These are ISRO's satellites, India's own navigation system. Unlike GPS, which, again, is U.S.-controlled, NavIC is homegrown.
Which fits the whole sovereignty theme.
Perfectly. NavIC satellites beam down extremely precise and, importantly, encrypted time signals from space. Think of it like a cosmic conductor leading the national orchestra of clocks. It syncs everything from your phone to air traffic control, all using an Indian-controlled signal.
A cosmic conductor, I like that. But how do all the devices actually get that signal and stay synced? Is it automatic?
Mostly, yes. That's where some technical protocols come in. You might hear acronyms like NTP and PTP.
NTP and PTP. Okay, break those down.
Sure. NTP stands for Network Time Protocol. It's the more common one. It basically allows computers and devices on a network to sync their internal clocks. It's like a friendly nudge, keeping things accurate to within milliseconds. Good enough for most everyday applications.
Okay, milliseconds. That sounds pretty good. What about PTP?
PTP is Precision Time Protocol. Think of this one as the perfectionist. It offers much higher accuracy down to microseconds, or even nanoseconds in some cases.
Microseconds. Why would you need that level of precision?
Critical systems, like the power grid we talked about, financial trading platforms, industrial control systems. Anywhere even a tiny time difference could cause major failures or security issues. PTP ensures those systems are absolutely locked in step.
Okay, so atomic clocks provide the master time, Navi beams it down, NTP and PTP help devices sync up. That's the tech side. But what makes people actually use it?
That's where the legal muscle comes in. The Legal Metrology, Indian Standard Time Rules 2025, these aren't just suggestions, they are the law.
The law, meaning mandatory.
Mandatory. They state that all legal, commercial, administrative activities, basically everything official, must use IST, derived from these official sources. No syncing to random internet servers or foreign signals unless you get specific permission, which probably won't be easy.
And if you don't comply?
Penalties. fines, potentially other legal action. They're signaling that this is serious business. It really underscores the national commitment to this.
Right. So this whole massive infrastructure, the clocks, the satellites, the laws,
Yeah.
it's impressive tech. But how does it actually make life better for the average person? What's in it for, you listening right now?
That's the crucial question, isn't it? And the answer is it translates into some very real, tangible benefits that should make daily life easier, safer, and ultimately fairer.
Okay, like what? Give me some examples.
Let's start with secure transactions. Think about using UPI or maybe trading stocks online. With everyone synced to the exact same IST, those transactions become inherently faster, more accurate, and much more secure.
How does sync help security specifically?
Well, precise. Unified timestamps make it much harder for hackers to do things like replay attacks, where they try to reuse old transaction data, or to try and fudge timestamps to commit fraud. Every digital action has a verifiable, consistent time attached. It creates a much stronger audit trail, fewer transaction failed errors too, hopefully.
Okay, better security, fewer errors. That's good. What else?
How about accurate billing? Ever get an electricity bill or water bill that just seems way off?
Maybe once or twice.
Sometimes unsynchronized meters can actually lead to errors and overcharging. By ensuring all utility meters are synced to IST, the billing should become much more accurate, reflecting your actual usage. Saves money, reduces disputes.
Okay, fair billing. I like the sound of that. Travel.
Smoother travel, definitely. Imagine trains, planes, buses, all running on the exact same time. That should mean fewer delays, fewer missed connections. The hope is that Indian Railways time becomes a compliment, synonymous with punctuality.
Huh? That would be a change. Okay, what else?
There's also a big cybersecurity boost overall. Hackers often exploit tiny time differences between systems to sneak in or cover their tracks. A unified IST across the board makes the entire digital landscape that much harder for them to attack. It protects everything from your bank account to the national power grid, improves national digital resilience.
And underlying all of this, there's that sense of national pride and self-reliance you mentioned.
Exactly. It carries significant symbolic weight. It shows India is taking control of its critical infrastructure, reducing dependence on foreign tech, and operating with greater technological independence. It's a statement on the world stage.
It's quite a leak from where things were, isn't it? What's the history here? Was time always this fragmented?
Well, to really get why this is such a big step, it helps to look back. In the colonial era, India didn't really have a single time zone. Major cities like Bombay, Calcutta, Madras, they each had their own local time, usually just based on when the sun was highest overhead there.
So lunchtime in Calcutta was different from lunchtime in Bombay.
Pretty much. That worked okay locally, but then came the railways and the telegraph. Suddenly you needed a standard time to coordinate schedules and messages across distances.
The railways. They forced the issue.
They really did. That led to the official adoption of IST in 1906. It was pegged to the meridian passing near Allahabad, now Prayagraj. That was the UTC plus 5.30 standard we have today.
Okay, 1906. But it sounds like it wasn't perfectly implemented even then.
Enforcement was, let's say, inconsistent. Some regions still kept their own time for a while, and even after independence, while IST was the standard, the digital age brought new problems.
So.
With computers, servers, smartphones, everything started syncing automatically, often to global time servers, usually based on GPS time or other international standards. So IST kind of got diluted in practice, especially in tech infrastructure.
Right, back to the problem of different systems using different times.
Exactly. There was a report from CSRRNPL back in 2023 that found something like up to 30% of India's critical infrastructure was still using non-IST time sources.
30%, that's huge.
It is. It's like trying to run a marathon with one shoe untied, basically. You might finish, but it's inefficient and risky. So these 2025 rules are India finally deciding to lace up both shoes properly and run the race effectively.
And is India alone in doing this? Or are other countries pursuing this time sovereignty?
No, India isn't the first. The U.S. obviously with GPS and its atomic clocks, China with its Beidou system, Russia with GLONASS, major powers have already established their own time standards and the satellite systems to back them up.
So it's kind of standard practice for major global players.
It is. But India's approach is still pretty unique, maybe even more ambitious, given the scale trying to synchronize 1.46 billion people and doing it primarily with homegrown technology like NavIC. That commitment to indigenous tech is a key part of the story.
Let's dig into that global context a bit more. You're saying time is almost like a geopolitical tool.
In a way, yes. Think about it. Nations that control the dominant time signals, like the US with GPS, hold a certain amount of sway. Billions of devices worldwide depend on their signal for timing.
So they have leverage.
They potentially do. China developing Beidou, Russia developing GLONASS, Europe developing Galileo. It's all part of ensuring they aren't solely reliant on the American system. India building NavIC and mandating its use through these 2025 rules. It's basically India claiming its seat at that table. It's asserting its independence in this really critical foundational domain.
And does this timing, pun intended, relate to other global events or trends?
Well, you could argue it fits into a broader global trend towards strategic autonomy or self-reliance. In a world with, shifting alliances and potential supply chain vulnerabilities, controlling your own critical infrastructure, including something as basic as time, becomes more important. It reduces dependency on foreign tech that could, theoretically, become unavailable or compromised.
Makes sense. It's a resilience move.
Exactly. It's about ensuring national resilience no matter what's happening elsewhere.
What about pushback? Are global tech companies, the ones used to GPS, likely to complain about having to adapt to NavIC?
There might be some grumbling, sure.
Yeah.
Companies are generally used to integrating with GPS. It's the default. Adapting systems to use NavIC might require some re-engineering, some cost, maybe some initial compatibility hurdles.
So potential ruffled feathers.
Potentially. But here's the thing. India's market is enormous. 1.46 billion potential customers is a pretty strong incentive for companies to adapt. If India mandates NavIC compatibility for devices sold or services offered there, most global firms will likely find a way to comply.
The market size gives India leverage.
Huge leverage. Plus, the word is that NavIC is being designed with an open architecture. That suggests it should be possible to make it work alongside other systems like GPS, maybe smoothing the transition. But the mandate is clear. IST derived from Indian sources is the primary requirement.
Okay, so it's a massive, ambitious plan with clear benefits and strategic importance. But no big project like this is ever easy, right? What are the main challenges they face in actually rolling this out by 2025?
Oh, absolutely. There are definitely hurdles. One big one is just tech adoption and infrastructure across the entire country.
You mean reaching rural areas?
Exactly. While cities might adapt quickly, ensuring reliable time-synced and remote villages for small businesses across areas where internet connectivity might still be patchy, that's a real challenge. The government's BRATNet project is working on rural connectivity, but consistent high-speed access is pretty crucial for millisecond-level NTP syncing, let alone PTP.
Right. If the network isn't stable, the sync won't be stable.
Precisely. Then there's the compliance issue. You have the law, you have penalties, but actually ensuring everyone, every small business, every local government office, every individual device that needs to be synced actually does it. That's going to take a massive awareness campaign, education, maybe even technical support.
You might get the my clock, my rules rebels.
You might, or just people who don't understand why it matters or how to do it. It requires changing habits and ensuring the tech is accessible and easy to use.
And cost.
It
Sounds expensive.
It is. Setting up those RSL labs, launching and maintaining the NavIC satellite constellation, potentially upgrading government systems nationwide, that's a significant investment. Critics will inevitably ask if the money could be better used elsewhere.
But the argument is it's a long-term investment.
That's the government's position, yes.
Yeah.
That the long-term gains in efficiency, security, and economic competitiveness far outweigh the initial costs. That time sovereignty is foundational for a digital India.
Any potential pushback from other countries, diplomatically?
It's possible there could be some quiet grumbling, perhaps concerns about trade barriers if device requirements become very strict. But again, India's position is likely to be that this is an internal matter of national infrastructure and security, much like other major nations have done.
So despite these challenges, tech rollout, compliance, cost, maybe some global static gestation, the government seems pretty confident.
They certainly project confidence, and they point to the years of preparation, right? Those 60-plus meetings weren't for nothing. They've involved scientists from NPL, engineers from ISRO, policymakers, the Principal Scientific Advisor's Office. They held a big roundtable conference with over 100 stakeholders, tech companies, banks, railways, power sector folks to get input and build consensus.
So it wasn't done in a vacuum.
Not at all. It seems like a very deliberate, well-researched, collaborative effort. That level of groundwork suggests they've anticipated many of these challenges and have plans to address them.
Okay, so wrapping this up. As we look towards 2025, this push for time sovereignty in India, it really does feel like a potential game changer.
It really does. The Legal Metrology Rules, backed by the atomic clocks, the NavIC satellites, this whole commitment to self-reliance, it's about unifying the nation under one single, incredibly precise heartbeat.
And the payoff isn't just abstract. It's tangible things like more secure payments, potentially smoother travel, fairer bills, better national security.
Exactly. Real benefits for everyday life and for the country as a whole.
Now, you acknowledge there will be bumps. Not every single clock is going to magically sync perfectly on day one.
No, realistically, there will be a transition period. There might be resistance, technical glitches, unforeseen issues. Change on the scale always has friction.
But the underlying expertise is there. ISRO, NPL.
Absolutely. The scientific and technical capability within NGI is top-notch. With ISRO's track record, NPL's timekeeping expertise, and the government's clear political will driving it, there's strong reason to believe they can pull this off. It's a genuinely historic undertaking, making time itself on their own terms.
So maybe a final thought for everyone listening. The next time you glance at your watch or your phone, maybe spare a second to think about the incredible science, the atomic clocks, the satellites whizzing overhead that will soon be keeping it perfectly in sync with the rest of the nation.
It's quite something when you stop to consider it.
And hey, if you are running late after 2025, well, you probably can't blame IST anymore. Might have to finally blame that snooze button.
Huh, probably true. Here's to a future where India's clocks are, hopefully, as united as its ambitions. One nation, one time. It's one heck of a bold move.